This is the MGTOWinfinium here with another Infinium out and about. This Infinium out and about is entitled Being Alone is Not Loneliness. Now, my brothers, I'm here again at the Chesapeake Lock Park, and over there is the Great Bridge, and I'll just pan around here. And on that end, that's the other part of the lock. It's a nice day, a few days before Christmas. And my brothers, it's a beautiful day, filled with peace and contentment. But my brothers, I want to talk to you about being alone versus loneliness. Now, for some of us like me, my brothers, I have no problem with being alone as a MGTOW man. This is because I am a introvert by nature, and introverts basically like being alone. I have a type of personality where I can function in crowds. I can function in types of situations where I have to speak to people, interact with people. But in general, my brothers, I like being alone. Because by nature, as an introvert, it helps me to do what I'm doing, be creative, just to bring peace to my soul, that type of thing. It just helps me, my brothers. And so I have no problem with traveling alone, eating alone, just doing things by myself. I have no problem. But I also have no problem when I have to interact with people. But my brothers, the interaction is based upon who I choose to interact with. So of course, with other MGTOW men, I interact with them because they are my fellow brothers. But with society itself, the feminist plantation state, I in general do as much as I can not to interact with it, which again, it's not so hard for me to do as an introvert. But my brothers, I do know that for many men in our community, they are not introverts. They are the types of men who like to be around people, who function their best when they're around people, that they don't like being alone, and they really find, again, enjoyment around crowds. But my brothers, because of the embracement of the philosophy, the MGTOW philosophy, because of the embracement of the lifestyle, which frees us all as MGTOW men, they find themselves in a situation where their friends are gone, their family is gone, they're being called crazy, they're being labeled as misogynists, pigs, the destroyers of society. The very things that they love to interact with are assailing them with the things that they love to interact with, who they thought were favorable to them, are now disfavoring them and calling them all sorts of things, like again terrorists, like again destroyers of society, weak men, all because they embrace a lifestyle which is freeing, which is powerful in the nature of what it does in terms of freeing men, because it dictates to men that they do not have to be slaves. They do not have to be the thing that the feminist plantation state calls them to be. They do not have to be throwaways, that they are human beings, that they are men who are designed to be men, not effeminate, not weak, but they are men, and they are entitled to their dignity. But yet, again, this causes them to be disavowed by what they once formerly thought was in favor of them. But my brothers, the MGTOW lifestyle, the embracement of what we know now is a philosophy that frees us all, of what we understand as a mandate of our freedom as men, is worth it regardless. And although you may be facing that situation where, again, your embracement of the philosophy, of the mandate of your freedom, of the dictate of your freedom, is causing you to feel lonely, my brothers. Again, you are not alone. You are not alone because whether you are gregarious or introvert like me, we all have the same common goal, and that is our freedom. And you must understand, my brothers, when you embrace the MGTOW philosophy, when you embrace being a MGTOW man, it will cause this type of separation regardless of whether you're an introvert or extrovert, my brothers. It will cause these things. We will all, as MGTOW men, be subjected to these things for the rest of our lives. And we have to understand that. This is not a pull up your pants and act like men type of thing. This is just an understanding of what we face, what we all face as MGTOW brothers. We will all face this type of rejection for the rest of our lives as MGTOW men. And that's the thing that you have to understand, whether you are an introvert or extrovert. This will happen to us all. And so in that regard, my brothers, you are not alone. But my brothers, again, speaking to the loneliness factor, my brothers, you can be in a condition where you are married, you have a lot of friends, but yet your eyes are open to the things that are around you, to the things that enslave you, and it causes you to be alone. And when you try to convince others around you to understand what you're seeing, or to get your woman to respect you, but only to find out suddenly that she didn't respect you and she never respected you, that can cause that sense of loneliness. Because again, you find yourself alone in a world that pretty much hates you. But my brothers, I would say to you again, to, as best as you can, look at what is going on in your life and look at the good thing that has happened to you. Your freedom is invaluable to you. And my brothers, it is beyond the comprehension of those members of the feminist plantation state. Your freedom is beyond the comprehension of what you once were. You were a man that was enslaved by the feminist plantation state, and your eyes became open to what the feminist plantation state was doing to you, and you became a MGTOW. You became the one that says, no, I will not be a slave. I will not be that scapegoat, the black sheep, the one who is thrown under the bus, the one who is divorce raped. I will not do these things. I will not marry a single mother just because I'm told by a family member that that is my Christian duty. Your eyes are now open to these things. And that, my brothers, is incomprehensible. It is incomprehensible to those members, both male and female, of the feminist plantation state. It is saying basically that you will not be a slave, that you will self-govern yourself, that you will not be told by a woman that you must do these things, that you must get married, you must give up your life, you must be the one. That's what it's talking about, my brothers. That's what's going on. You are in a realm now where you will be alone. But my brothers, do not construe being alone with being lonely. And my brothers, the loneliness that you're feeling, look at it in this manner. You as a slave were alone. You as a slave were alone, and whether you thought so or not, you were in a lonely condition because you would never, as a slave, be able to satisfy what is implacable. You would face the loneliness of being shit-tested. You would face the loneliness of being cast down into a realm of being told that you are worthless as a man. You would be cast down into a realm where even your family would tell you that you have to be a scapegoat. That's what would happen to you, my brothers. You would be both alone and lonely because you would never be able to satisfy what is implacable. As a slave, you would be alone and lonely in the slave pits of the feminist plantation state. That's what would happen to you. That's what you have to consider, my brothers. The life that you left before you became a MGTOW was a phony life. It was a false sense of reality because it negated who you are as a man. And again, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, that is for all of us, all we MGTOW men. The life that you left when you said, I will go my own way as a man, was a false life. The life that you're living now as a free man is the true life. You deserve every bit of dignity, of worth, of understanding that you are valuable as a man. Your masculinity, every aspect of who you are as a man, you rightfully deserve it. Whether, again, you are an extrovert or an introvert. And my brothers, that's what you have to deal with and understand. Yes, you can feel lonely. But my brothers, you cannot satisfy the implacable. I will give you an example of my family. If I was not a MGTOW, I would be a scapegoat. I would be the black sheep. I would be the one who was thrown under the bus financially. I would be thrown under the bus in every way possible. But my brothers, my embracement as a MGTOW has pretty much put an end to that. And it has caused me to walk away from what I know is wrong. And I am now in a condition where I am socially estranged from my family. But my brothers, it is not a light thing. It is because of what they are doing, the things that they are doing, which I know in my heart are wrong. And my understanding that I was not created as a man to be a scapegoat, to be the black sheep, to be the go-to for other members of my family to throw me under the bus and not take accountability for their actions, to be blamed for things that happened in my family when I had no responsibility, when I had no say-so in the matter, to be told that I have to suck up or else, that I will die alone, that I will be the one that's lonely, that I will be the one that's missing out. But my brothers, I look at it like this. I have my freedom, and I have my eyes open to a pathway of freedom that I know it is right for me. And I see the things that my family is doing, and I see the things that will happen to them, that are happening to many men. Just this week alone, men have gone down, have lost, because they got with a wham and then they stuck in crazy, or they did certain things which opened the door for their enslavement. And they found themselves in court being told that, yes, there's evidence of your innocence, but you're guilty still as a man. My family is facing these things. I see these things happening in my family. And my brothers, just because I said no, I will not do these things, I find myself estranged socially from my family. And as such, I am working on building a separation from my family because it is not worth it, my brothers. It is not worth it to be the scapegoat, to be the black sheep, to be the slave, to be the go-to for others to not take accountability for their actions, to have your life altered, the course of your life altered because of the selfish nature of narcissism. All these types of things, my brothers. That's what I'm talking to you about, my brothers. That's what you're walking away from. My brothers, it is the fantasy of a good life living under the enslavement of the feminist plantation state that you're walking away from. And you're walking into the reality of your freedom, That's what you're doing, my brothers. You're not doing something as cope or trying to hide in a non-reality or anything like that. You're doing something that is taking you towards the reality of your freedom. Not only of your freedom, but your peace, your sanctity, your tranquility as a man. And my brothers, I look at these things that are going on, and yes, I understand that it is not easy for some to be alone because it causes loneliness. But my brothers, is it not time for you to look at what is really going on? To not get caught up in the stupor of loneliness, but rather look at your freedom, look at the value of your freedom, look at the value of your peace. My brothers, you'll find if you look at these things and look at them in the light of who you are as a MGTOW man, it will begin to overwhelm the loneliness. It will begin to overwhelm the disquiet of being lonely. And you'll find that the value of being free as a man is incomprehensible in nature. I've said before the profound nature of your freedom as men. That's what you're looking at. My brothers, as well, you may be alone, physically alone, but you are in the company of brothers worldwide who all have the same mindset, their freedom, who are all walking along a pathway to freedom. That's what you're doing, my brothers. And that's what I would say to you. Again, it is not easy to be a MGTOW man in this type of society. But my brothers, it is well worth it. It is well worth it in every sense of the word. It is well worth it. My brothers, consider the incomprehensible nature of your freedom, the profound nature of your freedom. Consider those things. And again, for those of you who are extroverts, when you begin to feel lonely, and I would say for all of us, because there are times of doubt, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right way? Again, for all of us, let the profound nature of your freedom, the incomprehensible nature of your freedom, overwhelm these doubts, these considerations, these negative considerations, and look at where you're going, my brothers, towards your freedom. My brothers, the MGTOW lifestyle, the embracement of what is now known as the MGTOW philosophy is well worth it. And you should consider those things. Consider those things. Consider your freedom. Consider your wealth. Consider your worth as a man and what the philosophy, being a MGTOW, has brought back to you. The very nature of your dignity being restored to you is invaluable. Of who you are designed to be as a man is invaluable, my brothers. Consider those things. My brothers, do what you must to take care of yourselves and to keep yourselves on that pathway to freedom. Because, my brothers, there is no other route for you to take as a free man, but to take the route which has been afforded to you by being a MGTOW man. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium out and about. My MGTOW brothers, as always, stay safe, stay strong, stay on the MGTOW path, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.